December 10th. Mark that date. Write it down. Put it in your phone. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to shift everything you thought you knew about timing, about opportunity, and about the invisible forces that shape your reality when you're not paying attention. You know that feeling when you're scrolling through life, just going through the motions, and suddenly something clicks? Like the universe just handed you a piece of a puzzle you didn't even know you were solving? Well, that's exactly what's about to happen. And December 10th isn't just some random date I picked out of thin air. There's something brewing, something that's been building momentum for months, and most people are completely oblivious to it. Here's what's wild. While everyone else is busy planning their holiday shopping lists and thinking about New Year's resolutions, there's this massive shift happening right under our noses. The kind of shift that separates people who stay stuck from people who actually break through. And the crazy part? It's not about luck. It's not about being in the right place at the right time. It's about understanding patterns that most people never even notice. See, we live in these cycles. Everything around us operates in cycles. The seasons, the markets, human behavior, energy, opportunities. And right now, we're sitting at the edge of something massive. December 10th marks the beginning of a window that only opens once every few years. And I'm not talking about some mystical New Age nonsense. I'm talking about measurable, observable shifts that you can actually use to your advantage. But here's the thing that gets me. Most people are so caught up in their daily routine that they miss these moments entirely. They're too busy complaining about what's not working, too focused on what they can't control, too distracted by the noise to notice when the real opportunities show up. And then, 6 months later, they're wondering why nothing ever changes for them. You want to know what December 10th really represents? It's the moment when everything you've been unconsciously preparing for finally has a chance to surface. All those skills you've been developing without realizing it, all those connections you've been making, all those experiences that felt random at the time, but we're actually building towards something bigger. I've been tracking this for years now, watching patterns, studying timing, observing how certain dates become turning points for people who are awake enough to recognize them. And December 10th sits at the intersection of 3 major cycles that are about to align in a way they haven't in years. Think about it like this. You know how sometimes you'll get an idea and you'll sit on it for months? You'll think about it, maybe talk about it with a friend, but you never actually act on it. Then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, you see that exact idea being executed by someone else, and they're making millions from it. That's not coincidence, that's timing. And more specifically, that's what happens when you're not aligned with the natural rhythms that govern opportunity. December 10th is different because it's not about forcing something to happen. It's about positioning yourself so that when the wave comes, you're ready to ride it instead of getting crushed by it. Most people spend their lives fighting against the current, wondering why everything feels so hard. But there are these moments, these windows, where the current shifts in your favor. And if you know how to read the signs, you can position yourself to flow with it instead of against it. Here's what I want you to understand. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they lack talent or motivation or even opportunity. It's because they're operating out of sync with the natural timing of things. They're trying to plant seeds in winter and wondering why nothing grows. They're pushing when they should be pulling. They're forcing when they should be allowing. But December 10th represents a shift in that current. A moment when the resistance you've been feeling starts to dissolve, when the doors that have been closed start to crack open, when the conversations you've been trying to have finally find receptive ears, when the projects you've been struggling with suddenly start flowing. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind. This isn't about waiting for something external to change. This is about recognizing that the change has already begun, and December 10th is simply when it becomes visible, like how a seed germinates underground for weeks before you see the first green shoot. The growth was happening the whole time. You just couldn't see it yet. The people who understand this, who learn to work with these natural rhythms instead of against them, they're the ones who seem to have all the luck. They're the ones who are always in the right place at the right time. They're the ones who make moves that look risky, but somehow always pay off. Not because they're special, but because they're paying attention to things most people ignore. So December 10th isn't just a date, it's a doorway. And whether you walk through it or miss it entirely, Depends on whether you're awake enough to recognize what's actually happening around you. Do you? Right now, as you're listening to this, there are people all around the world who are about to make decisions that will completely alter the trajectory of their lives, and they have no idea it's coming. They're just going about their normal Tuesday, checking emails, grabbing coffee, scrolling through their phones, completely unaware that they're standing at the edge of a cliff that's about to become a launching pad. But you're different. You're here. You clicked on this video for a reason, even if you can't quite put your finger on what that reason is yet. Something in you recognized that December 10th isn't just another date on the calendar. Something deeper than your logical mind picked up on the frequency of what's about to unfold. Here's what most people don't realize about timing. They think it's linear. They think opportunity works like a vending machine where you put in effort and results come out in some predictable sequence. But that's not how reality actually operates. Reality works in spirals, in waves, in sudden quantum leaps that seem to come out of nowhere, but we're actually building momentum for months or even years. December 10th is one of those quantum leap moments. And the beautiful thing about it is that you don't need to understand exactly how it works to benefit from it. You just need to be present enough to recognize it when it arrives. You need to be awake enough to say yes when the universe starts rearranging itself in your favor. I've watched this happen over and over again. People who have been struggling for months suddenly break through. Projects that have been stalled suddenly accelerate. Relationships that have been stuck suddenly shift. Money that has been tight suddenly flows. Not because they did anything dramatically different, but because they aligned themselves with a natural rhythm that was already there waiting for them. And here's the thing that's going to save you so much wasted energy. You don't have to create this shift. You don't have to manifest it or force it or hustle your way into it. It's already happening. The wave is already building. Your job is simply to position yourself to catch it when it crests. Most people miss these moments because they're looking in the wrong direction. They're focused on what's not working instead of what's trying to emerge. They're so busy fixing yesterday's problems that they miss tomorrow's solutions. They're operating from scarcity when abundance is literally knocking on their door. But December 10th changes that equation. It's like someone just turned on the lights in a room you've been fumbling around in for months. Suddenly you can see the furniture. You can see the exits. You can see the opportunities that were there all along, just waiting for enough illumination to become visible. The people who are going to thrive in the coming months are the ones who learn to read these signals, who understand that success isn't about grinding harder or wanting it more. It's about recognizing when the current is shifting in your favor and having the courage to adjust your sails accordingly. And here's what's really beautiful about this particular moment. December 10th isn't just about individual breakthrough. It's about collective elevation. The shifts that are happening aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a larger pattern that's lifting everyone who's ready to be lifted. It's like a rising tide that lifts all boats, but only if you're actually in the water instead of sitting on the shore complaining about the weather. So, what does this mean for you practically? It means the next few weeks are crucial, not because you need to do anything dramatic, but because you need to stay awake. You need to pay attention to the subtle shifts happening around you, the conversations that feel different, the opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere, the people who suddenly start showing up in your life with exactly what you need. December 10th is when the veil gets thin between where you are and where you're meant to be. And if you're paying attention, if you're really present to what's unfolding, you're going to start seeing connections you never noticed before, patterns that suddenly make sense, doors that were locked yesterday but are standing wide open today. Open today. So here's what I need you to do. Right now, before you close this video, before you get distracted by the next notification, I want you to make a commitment, not to me, but to yourself, that between now and December 10th, you're going to pay attention. You're going to notice the subtle shifts, the unexpected conversations, the doors that start to crack open, because this isn't about believing in some mystical force. This is about recognizing that you've been preparing for this moment longer than you realize. The wave is building, the current is shifting, and December 10th is when everything you've been unconsciously working toward finally has space to breathe. So mark that date, stay awake, And when it all starts to make sense, remember that you were here first.